Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Heal Your Home. Within this episode, we are looking at 4 big top tips to identify heat escape from your property. And of course, we'll be having a listener question and a tenant top tip.
But first, let's talk heat loss.
Heal Your Home with Jason Ratcliffe.
So, the 4 things, the big 4 top things that evolve around heat loss within a property. Everyone has heat loss within a property, and it can be the most annoying and expensive thing to try and overcome, and also frustrating, because if you don't know the top tips of what to look for, then how are you ever going to resolve them without worrying about getting ripped off by potential cowboy builders? So the big thing you can do at home is have a look for any drafts, any condensation anywhere, black spot mold, or any kind of condensation that may be building up around walls, etc. And also by touch, putting the back of your hand on a surface, and especially external surface, if that is colder than the internal walls. It's not an exact science, but it will give you a really good idea initially of actually what you're looking at. But of course, delving in more to the more scientific, more accurate type of inspections, thermographic inspections. Now this is the second top tip. Thermographic inspections are massively underrated and massively unknown. Now, they're not just for energy efficiency, but what they do offer is a really good way of accurately identifying if you have any heat loss in your property around windows, around doors, if you've got what's called thermal bypass around particular areas where insulation may not be adequately packed in, or whether it may have slunk down a little bit and what's called slumped, especially if it's mineral wool, sheep's wool, things that aren't rigid insulation. These are areas that typically can then have black spot mold build-up, condensation in random areas, maybe at junctions between walls and ceilings. Also, you'll be looking at things like extractor fans. Now, these are really big issues with thermal heat loss within homes, because a lot of standard extractor fans within bathrooms and shower rooms and WCs don't have a cutoff. So the external vent or the internal vent doesn't actually close. So therefore, in most cases, they are just an open source for external air to come into the property and heat to escape. That's why if you notice within bathroom environments, it can become really cold. Now, a thermographic camera can identify this immediately, and it is an easy fix. So really what you're looking at is then just replacing those either external vent covers or internal extractor fans with a thermally efficient alternative, which when it's not in use, it seals. It's as simple as that, but it does an absolute wonderful job. Also, with a thermographic inspection, you can then make sure that there's no hidden leaks or defects that may be an issue of causing thermal bypass. So if you've got leaks coming into your property, or your heating system may be leaking, or your water inlet pipework may be leaking, and it may not be obvious from a non-invasive or non-intrusive inspection, but a thermographic inspection can certainly tell whether any of these are issues. And if they are, they can also be causing heat escape from your property and zapping heat out, which can then make it harder to maintain a comfortable living temperature. So you may have to always have your heating on. This is the third key top tip, really, and that is if your property cannot maintain a minimum of 18 degrees within, we're talking maybe an hour period, 2 hours after your heating is turned off. This is then a sign that you do not have adequate insulation, or there is something going on within your property that's not allowing it to maintain that heat. Now, it won't maintain a comfortable living temperature for a long duration of time, unless you're living in a passive home, of course. But a normal home, if you have a normal home and your temperature is noticeably going down and you're having to ramp up your heating to even allow it to be at around a 20 degrees, there is something probably going on there. And you need to then start looking, do you have single glazing? Do you have double glazing or triple glazing that has failed? So we've covered this in previous episodes, where it may start misting and condensating. If you notice that between the panes, that means your double glazing is not, or your triple glazing is not doing its job, and it's allowing heat to escape from the property. So again, it isn't expensive to get those replaced. You do not necessarily need the entirety of the windows replacing. It is normally just the double glazing units or triple glazing units themselves. So this is really, really big and key points. But now the fourth is what to do to prepare for these, and how do you know whether these things are working. So in preparation for a thermographic survey, it's really important to make sure you put your heating on, close all your windows and doors a good couple of hours beforehand, so you're getting that temperature in your property nice and warm. This will allow for the difference, or the differential between the internal and external temperatures to be at an optimal difference, because that will really allow for the heat to travel through from the inside to the outside. So when a thermographic survey is undertaken, it can be really obvious where those areas or their trouble areas are, and that need addressing. Once you've done that, then you'll be looking at what to remedy or how to remedy and put right those things, because not everything is expensive, and a lot of heat loss, unless you're looking at substantial dampness or renovation works, can be just a few little tweaks in your home. So like I said, double glazing, or if you've got single pane, as and where possible, replace with double glazed alternatives. Consider having a heat recovery system put in your property. Now, these are a little bit more expensive, but what it can do is it forces airflow through your property, and it recycles and reuses that heat where it's not needed, and then takes it to where it is needed. So it gets an equilibrium, so a nice kind of flat, equalized balance of temperature throughout your property. That's really important. So those cold spots that you might have in bathrooms, for example, or external sort of porches, conservatories, if you've then got a ventilation system that circulates air through your property, it should just take that nip out of the air just in those areas. But then also with the location of your boiler, if you're getting a new boiler, make sure it's in a place that is insulated, because a lot of people tend to, for space purposes, put it in areas that may not be insulated, such as roof voids or outbuildings, things like that. But the problem is these areas mean that your boiler needs to work harder, so it uses more fuel, costs you more money to get up to temperature and do its job. So make sure wherever you locate your boiler, it's in an area that is thermally efficient and the temperature is optimal, but also where you have your thermostat. Now, this is a really big issue in a lot of cases, because people put their thermostats in areas that don't give a true representation of the overall property. They may be in areas that are cooler. And therefore, so for example, if you have it in your entrance porchway or your entrance or your kitchen, or for whatever reason, but that area of the property is has drafts or is particularly cold when compared to the rest of the property, then what will happen is that the thermostat will it will just keep on pushing, because it won't reach that optimal temperature. Whereas that may be set at, say, 18 degrees, but the rest of your property may be at 24 degrees, 25 degrees. So it starts getting into an uncomfortable living temperature, and also costing a lot more. So that location of that thermostat is really important.
And now, a listener question for Heal Your Home.
We have a listener question from Sarah in Camborne, all the way down in Cornwall, where I'm based. It's nice to have some people down here that are listening as well. So her issue is she's having awful trouble with black spot mold around her windows, and she doesn't know what to do about it or where to go. Well, this is a really common issue, Sarah, and you're not alone in this. And obviously black spot mold is a direct health issue, so please be careful and try and manage this as best you can with natural things like white vinegar, for example. But this is obviously just a way to prevent it from spreading more until you get your remedy. But to remedy this, you really want to get a thermographic survey completed, because it is probable that there's thermal bypass around the windows, which is then allowing for a cold sink, so the cold spots around the windows windows. And then obviously your ventilation is not helping by the sounds of it, but I don't know. So try and improve the ventilation within your property, wipe away any condensation around your windows, and if you are able to, it would be good to get a thermographic survey done, and then potentially look at, if you can, replacing your window units if they do need replacing, with proper window units with comproband, so the rubber bits around those windows, to prevent any issues occurring in the future. If this is not possible, then it would be advised to have mold repellent paint around your windows, and it will be unfortunately a reoccurring issue until something more permanent is put in place for you. But I hope that does help, and I'm sorry that I can't be of more help within this episode, but I would be absolutely delighted to help if you did want to email in some more information.
Jason's tenant top tip.
The tenant top tip is all around how you as a tenant can make sure your property or your home is thermally efficient, not costing you a lot of money, but also making sure it's comfortable living conditions for you and your family. Now, obviously, we do advise that you do shock therapy, so 10 to 20 minutes per day, opening windows and doors to really get that fresh air in and reduce the toxins in your home. But obviously, that does have an adverse effect on the temperature and living conditions. It can make it very cold, especially in winter months. And if it's raining outside, you can then have issues with humidity in the property. So once that's been done, make sure that you are closing those windows and doors and controlling the trickle vents in your home. What you can look at doing as well is making sure that you have insulated curtains and blinds, as this is something as a tenant you have control over, and it can make a massive difference in drafts and heat escape through windows and doors, especially if you're having trouble with single glazing or poorly maintained windows and doors. And as well as that, making sure your thermostat is in the correct location if possible. There's a lot of smart thermostats out there now which are mobile, so just making sure they are located in the correct area, and then making sure that you are running your heating at optimal times and optimal temperatures, because this will then help keep and maintain a comfortable living temperature within your home. But if you do have any issues in your property, make sure you make your landlord or your letting agent aware, because it is their obligation and their legal duty to make sure that your property is safe and habitable. So I hope this does help.
Heal Your Home with Jason Ratcliffe.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. It really does mean a lot to me and my team. Check out the website at homehealthexpert.co.uk for more information, to check out the services that we can help with for you and your family and improve your home's health, and also for the top tip guides that we have available for you. You can submit listener questions through our website and also by emailing our team at info@homehealthexpert.co.uk. We will try our absolute best to get round to your questions and help your family out to improve your home's health. Don't forget to subscribe to Heal Your Home wherever you get your podcasts, or on YouTube if you're watching along. I look forward to you joining me in the next episode of Heal Your Home. Your health, your future, it all starts here.